Good morning, Magic. I'm Gavin Verhey from Wizards of the Coast and of the Pauper format panel. And today I want to come to you with an update on Pauper, how the trial unbans are going, and if anything is changing. We on the Pauper format panel have been closely monitoring the format since the last series of changes. We generally feel the bans have impacted the format in positive ways, and we're happy with the impact that removing Deadly Dispute has had on the prevalence of that engine in the format. The overall health of the format looks great, with a lot of viable archetypes. The trial unbanning of Prophetic Prism has gone well, and we feel comfortable leaving that be. You can consider the Prism to no longer be trial unbanned. Now it's just unbanned. High Tide, on the other hand, has been a lot more contentious and is what I want to talk about today. This is an interesting situation. Looking at the Magic Online data, the win rate, how often the deck wins matches, of High Tide hasn't been anything noteworthy, sitting at just about 50%. For reference, the current top archetype by win rate among the several most played decks is Fairies, sitting at just below 55%. High Tide also has some of the matchups that are some of the lowest win rates I've ever seen for an archetype in any format. For example, it carries about a 10% match win percentage against the aforementioned Fairy stack and a sub 30% win rate against the Rakdos burn decks. Winning only half of its matches and having multiple decks in the format where it's exceedingly unfavored would normally never be cause for a banning. However, the play patterns of High Tide take a large amount of time to resolve and are cause for concern. We've heard this from many members of the community. It is unfun to sit there while they combo off, and it causes in-person events to run long as one player continues to combo. This is reminiscent of problems that other formats have had. For example, Second Sunrise and Karat Clan Ironworks combos in Modern had a similar issue. Now, this is certainly not the only deck in Pauper that has non-deterministic combo turns that can take a while. For example, Cycle Storm. Historically, the play rate, or how much of the metagame share that deck has, of those combo decks has been low enough that it hasn't been an issue. For reference, while noting that the play rate is much smaller so the data has a smaller sample size, Cycle Storm actually has a higher win rate than High Tide, at about 51%. In the case of High Tide, however, the play rates are high enough to cause this time-based problem, though it's hard to tell how much of the problem is just because it's the exciting new thing. The format and opinions around High Tide are still evolving, and we want to give it some more time to let that happen and be sure. If we reban High Tide, it is banned for good, so we'd rather take a little more time now to observe and be sure. Additionally, a large in-person Italian tournament, Paupergeddon, is coming up on July 4th. We don't love making a change this close to the event and would like to look at the results of its performance to help determine what to do with High Tide. We have seen Paupergeddon dramatically impact deck popularity in the past, so the success or failure of High Tide there may do a lot to impact its position in the format. In fact, as a fun side note, I'll be there personally in Paupergeddon this weekend to see what happens. So, given all of this, we are extending the trial unbanning of High Tide. To that end, you might have heard that the next ban and restricted announcement for Magic is scheduled for November 24th. We on the PFP don't believe it's appropriate in this specific case to wait that long to tell all of you about the fate of High Tide. We need some more time to collect data and observe, but not until November. If we do think it's a problem, we want to step in and remove it sooner. We also don't want to make a change that close to Eternal Weekend in Europe, where there will be a lot of Pauper being played. So, we are expecting to come back and deliver a verdict within the next few months, likely August. If we do come back and deliver a ban at that time, that will be a Pauper-only ban window. Either way, we'll come back with a longer format check-in at that time. We don't currently see Pauper as needing any other bans or unbans though. Things look pretty good. Of course, if High Tide is removed, it's possible it could change the metagame drastically, and then at that point, it is possible that a ban or unban could be necessary. Thanks to all of you for playing the format and sending feedback our way, and we'll continue to keep an eye on Pauper and especially High Tide in the weeks to come. I'll be out at Paupergeddon in Italy this weekend personally to watch the event unfold. I'm excited to see what happens, and lots of Pauper is about to be played. I'll talk with you again soon. And until then, on behalf of the entire PFP, have a blast playing Pauper, everybody. You got this.
Blue and white legendary Fox Artificer with 3 power and 1 toughness. Tails has flash, flying, and draws a card whenever a vehicle with flying enters under your control. This card represents Tails' affinity for aircrafts like the Tornado. You'll notice that Tails